last thing is the issue of financing. Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, as the name denotes, is an institution that is going to refinance mortgages. So remember when I talked about the mortgage gap? And I said those fellows in that category qualify for a mortgage, but it's unaffordable. So this KMRC is geared towards fixing that main category. But for you to qualify, it means you must have a mortgage. And so KMRC, what it does, it finances your bank. Because the reason why your mortgage is expensive is because the banks give you short-term loan. Right? Your mortgage is short. And that means the shorter the period, the higher the repayment. And the second thing is because the rate of interest is very high. So KMRC is borrowing cheap because we're getting what we call concessionary money from DFIs, Development Financial Institutions like World Bank and Africa Development Bank. They're putting in what we're calling the Tier 2 capital. And so KMRC will go and buy that expensive mortgage and refinance it by giving a long-term tenure. So you can get a 20-year loan mortgage, meaning you could have your repayments, and it will also be able to give you at cheaper rates. But majority of Kenyans, as we said, do not qualify for a mortgage. That is why in last week's budget, you had the Minister of National Treasury talk about National Housing Development Fund. And I know there was a lot of noise when he says that every employer will have to contribute 0.5% of your gross income, and yourself, you'll have to contribute another 0.5% to that category. That is what we are establishing as a National Housing Development Fund. This is the fund that is going to fund Mwananchi. It's a flexible fund. And this presentation here, which we're going to leave for Jane and her team to engage, has more details about national housing development. It's a complex structure, but the simple aspect of it is a tenant purchase scheme is what we call rent to own. Now, when you go to December 12, 2017, during his address of Jamhuri Day, His Excellency the President defined affordable housing in the following words, and it's not verbatim. He says an affordable house is a house that you, for whatever amount of rent you are paying today, wherever, you can be able to pay the same amount of money, but for a decent house that you will own. And ladies and gentlemen, and I have seen studies, Germans don't own houses. Why do you want to own houses? Ownership of a house, and this is the President's very strong sentiment about ownership of a house, is that the best gift that he can ever give you as a ticket out of poverty is access to ownership. Because the minute you own a house, you can borrow against that house to start a business. In your old age, you can vacate the big house and rent it out and go to a studio somewhere because your kids are all grown and gone and it's only you and your sweetheart you're left. And you don't need a 3-4 bedroom house. But that house becomes the best pension you could possibly get. So ownership is not debatable in our case. And for every Kenyan, we want to make sure that you have got the same right and the same access to ownership. And as I said, by doing that, we also start to fix our politics. Because we don't have people burning and destroying property. Because now they know what it is to own. Now, that's what National Housing Development Fund, which is covered in some slides later, is going to do. On the supply side, which means how do we fund the developer? We have come up with a structure where we have gone and given what is called guaranteed offtake to banks and to financial institutions to fund the developer and we give them what is called a clear exit. Meaning that in this affordable housing program, financial institutions do not have to worry about whether these houses are going to be taken. In other words, and this is very bold, government has undertaken market risk. So we are telling the developers, build, as long as it's within this development framework. Whatever you build and you don't sell in 5 years, we will buy back. But it is not a blind undertaking, ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, because we have got over 1 million housing demand just for government alone. Our public servant, whether it's teachers, 700,000 workforce, counties, and then I've got what we call essential services, the police and the prisons, where the DG was. We've got another 130,000 housing units that I must build for essential services. So we are encouraging the private sector to build these houses. And part of the money that you are contributing and putting into that fund will be responsible for exiting those houses. And ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you that that is, in our own views, the only way out of these unaffordable and unavailable